Good morning. Welcome to this service of Unity of Bernie online for September 19th, 2020. I'm Reverend J. Mulkey. I'm so glad you're here. I'd like to tell you that Unity of Bernie is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people. And we do. Part of who we are at Unity of Bernie. I just repeated to you our mission statement. The love is now expanding even more so outside the building as we deal with what's happening in a relative way around us with this pandemic. So I ask you to be part of the love that's Unity of Bernie through our online events, Sunday night book study. We have a Thursday night Pathlighters meditation group. Believe that you'll be blessed by taking advantage of these online opportunities for ministry, just like we're doing right now. Our daily word for today is, I let go and welcome the divine flow. How many times have I prayed for a resolution to a situation that was troubling me, for guidance along my path, or for a new opportunity, all the while clinging to a desired result? Needing situations to work out a certain way or remaining fixed on the specific outcomes, and the I wants cut me off from the divine flow of life that transcends the circumstances of my life and the limits of my imagination. I decide to let go and let God by releasing any rigid ideas that might impede the divine flow within me. I relax my tight grip on my needs and wants. I pray anew for the clarity to know what is mine to do and release the rest. As I let go and let God, I move toward greater life, love, and peace. Our scripture reading from Daily Word is Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight. Good morning, Beth. It's good to see you. I want to talk to you today about the idea of being thunderstruck. That was a song in 1990. But that's a different kind of thunderstruck than what I'm talking about today. We're all thunderstruck at some time or some points in our life through the events of life. Sometimes a relationship ends. Sometimes we have issues of health. Sometimes we have issues of our own making that are produce negativity. Sometimes other people have done something that we don't understand. It seems that life sometimes is very up and down. We're happy one day, we're sad the next, and sometimes we're a mixture of both of those in the same day and sometimes in the same hour. It's a very dualistic way to live. And to be thunderstruck by something that happens in life, these things that occur that we don't expect, that we're not affirming, that we're not visualizing, that seem to be part of the relative experience of this world. This morning I want to talk to you about a way that helps all of us and helped me a long time. I hope it helps all of us. It helped me a long time ago remain calm and peaceful and in God's presence no matter what happens. I remember coming across a set of writings that talked about the idea that love was greater than fear, and that anything that wasn't of love was fear. And the basic idea of this was that if you took anything away from these particular writings, it would be to live in forgiveness. In other words, to forgive as a state of being rather than an act. A forgiveness that a way of life that never blamed in the first place. It is, some of the religions have called it grace, and some have said that you only have access to that through what we give you if you join our particular group. It's surprising to know that Spirit has no church. that there is no division among us except that which we set up. That the ever-loving, ever-living, ever-present, omniscient God cannot divide itself up. We are individualized expressions of that. But the problem is, in this relative world, we put together something called ego. We seem to be born with it. And this ego judges and evaluates the outside world and has many times forgets who is really in charge. Your ego is a set of fluctuating opinions and ideas about circumstances and people and places and events that is, to say, scattered, to say the least. But you have inside you one solid presence that never deviates from its purpose. It's who you are. You're literally God stuff. And the more that you can release the false and claim the true, release the lesser for the greater, the more peace you're going to have. Now, some people would say, well, what is peace of mind or heart going to do for me if all these other things are happening that I can't control? And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about this morning. The only way that you're going to be part of the answer to any of the upsets that are out there, especially right now, is if you are calm and centered on the inside, if you know who you are. And what I'm talking about is not who you are by age, sex, race, color, creed, any other of these dividing lines that we place on ourselves. We're pure spirit. Behind this human body, we are spirit. And we're spirits interacting with other spirits. But we've learned to judge and evaluate and measure and say, well, this has to go according to my way or I can't be happy. We're not willing to do, as Daily Word said this morning, to let go and let God. We want an answer sometimes preformed. The preformed answer that says that I know best and I'll take that and anything less, nothing else. Now that's one thing when you set a goal and you're working for an achievement, but that's quite another thing when you're open to spirit, when you're open to the divine flow, when you're open to getting yourself, your usual self, out of the way. That's a very hard thing for us to do. It's been hard for me to do because there are times that I want to see things my way. There are times that I say that my ego has the answer. By gosh, I know it, and y'all or whoever else better agree with it. And it's particularly those times that I have to realize that this is a world of relativity, of opinion. And what does it matter? Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? I could see peace instead of what I'm seeing if I would remove my precious darling opinion from the situation. We suffer so much unnecessarily because we feel like it's got to be our way or no way. We see that right now politically. I don't think we've ever been this divided. And I've said this before, we're butting against each other because no one wants to say there might be a better way. Now, the set of books that I was referring to begin with is known as A Course in Miracles. And it came about through the collaboration of two clinical psychologists in New York. And they had a very stormy, tempestuous working relationship. Both of them were atheists. Both of them were in the pure practice of Freudian psychology, agnostics generally, most likely atheists, but least agnostics. One day, the man, his name was William Thetford, came to the woman he was having a very stormy relationship with, another co-worker. Her name was Helen Schuttman. And he said, there's got to be a better way of relating to one another than the way we're doing it. And for whatever reason, she was open to this. And she said, yes, there is, and I'm willing to help you find it. And out of that collaboration came a set of books called A Course in Miracles that have changed and transformed the lives of millions since it was published, really published in 1976. There were copies of it, but I don't think it really hit its stride until around the mid-70s. And what I love about it was that it aims to let the Holy Spirit deconstruct the ego that we've set up that continues to cause our problems. When Bill Thetford and Helen Schuchman came together and collaborated, that was a holy incident. As a matter of fact, the Course in Miracles says the most sacred place in the world is a place where an ancient hatred has been healed. Whether the hatred is ancient to me or yesterday or today, when that is healed, when that sense of separation is healed inside, because life takes place inside. Have you known you can't hate somebody and them know it 24 hours a day, but you do. You're going to feel it first. And this has been something that I have tried to say throughout entire ministry, is that the world takes place inside you. The relative events of the outside, the comings, the goings, the ups and downs, a pandemic, a non-pandemic, making money, not making money, etc. We can go on and on. That takes place inside you as a vision, but then you judge it. And when you judge it, and when you categorize it, and when you need to egoically say this is better than that or that's better, you're not living in a state of just pure awareness and bliss. And that's what's behind all this. Christ Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all this will be added to you. The kingdom of heaven is inside you. It's within you. We are so many times scared to go into that place. And that's the only place the answer is going to be found. For you, for me, for anyone. We have to find that answer. We have to tear down every defense that we place against love's presence. Now that sounds like a big, tall order. And I know, in Unity we say make no small plans. To deconstruct something that's been a part of you for your whole life is not something that I'm pretending to say is going to be easy. It's not one that you can do necessarily overnight, but you can realize that in this world of linear time, and this is what we have here, there is nothing apart from it. So you make a decision to go with the flow, to not count the days, the nights, the months, the years, but you're present at every part of your life. You are pure presence, pure awareness, pure spirit. Now that doesn't mean you don't have to live in this world and you don't have decisions that you have to make, but you're willing. You're willing to drop the ways that you have done things in the past, the way you've seen the world, and say, for instance, I could see peace instead of this. But it means removing yourself and your opinions and the relative you that can go up and down, moving that away and seeing the situation in love's pure light. If ever we need to do that, it's especially right now. It's very easy for someone to divide other people when you're talking, and I've seen ministers do it. It's very, very simple to divide people, to whip up, foment, and start arguments and then play on division. It happens in ministry, it happens in politics, it happens generally where there are groups of people that seem to thrive on this. But my mission is to unite us. We're more alike than we are separate. This Course in Miracles also says there are no private thoughts. We all have thought something similar in one way or another. We're no surprise to God. I think sometimes we're surprised to ourselves. We're surprising ourselves when we say we'll let go and let God, and then we hold on desperately to what we need to let go of. I know that I've done it too, but I know that when I don't, And when I step back and actually listen to what I'm saying right now, that life works much better. You'll find you don't want to be part of useless arguments. You don't want to see friction and division. A different kind of peace will come over you. The peace of pure awareness to know that this whole thing that we're going through right now in this world is, in a great way, illusory, because it is something that's going to go eventually. And one of the things that I love about the Course is it says nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, herein lies the peace of God. And what's unreal? Our opinions about how things should be. That's why I love 12-step groups that talk about surrendering to a higher power and being willing to take the things that came against them, that the negativities they may have engaged in or the addictions or whatever, and turn that to simply being present, being open to a new way of life, to say that the way that I had lived up till now may be wrong. You know, that's the hardest thing for us to say is, I was wrong or I could have been wrong. Our egos hate to hear that. We don't want to think for a moment that we don't have something covered. But the strange thing about it is that we'll really have it covered when we remove our precious darling feelings, our opinions, when we remove those from the situation and let the pure presence of love and joy and peace of God shine through. Then you're in a position to affirm the kind of life you want, live the kind of life that's for your highest good, the things that you really want when you get down to it. It may be some material things. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with enjoying certain things in your life. But I believe that when you break it all down, most people at the end of the day want peace of mind, the presence that knows, access to an inner wisdom that goes before you no matter what happens. That is the sine qua non of your existence, the way you live, the way you walk in grace. That's what we want. So you could say this morning to yourself, there has to be a better way. If you're not experiencing the things you want, in other words, if this pandemic is wearing on you, and I know it is to most all of us, if there's a situation in your life that needs understanding and healing, and you haven't been able to access that, this is a perfect point. Because in spirit, look, in spirit there is no time. It's timeless. What it is presence. There is no year in spirit. We have set this all up in this world. We've played follow the follower. And there is, yes, we have to have a civilization, and there are certain rules and things that we must abide by, but we're forgetting the most important thing. We are love, and we're supposed to love other people because they're struggling just like we are. Truth lives in us, accessible 24 hours a day, if we can let go. Really, as Daily Word said this morning, let go and let God. Doing that puts us in a position for a whole new life. People say I'm too old to change. That's nonsense. People say I've been this way too long. Not true. Some people say what I've done is so bad that I can't be forgiven. You may be closer at that point than you think because you're questioning yourself, you're feeling that, you're willing to do introspection, and when you're willing to do that, that means you're willing to let go of some hardened, concretized opinions about yourself. That's why it's been said by, I remember Joshua Liebman in his book, Peace of Mind. He said there's in heartbreak, that's the place God can get in. That's the place the light can get in. When your heart is broken by the world, by things that have happened, that's the exact place where the healing can come in, because the vulnerability that you feel is the most real thing that's going on right then, and that connects with spirit. You're not hardened up like this is saying, I'm fine, I can take it. Nothing can get through to that. But when you have as they say, a broken heart or a place that hurts, and that vulnerability can be your strength. Presence can come in. You see, we're only going to experience as much of God's presence as we allow. We are the choice makers ultimately. We can affirm things all day long. But the best thing that I know of to do is to remove ourselves from our opinions about how the world should be and allow the Spirit of the living God, the Spirit of Christ, or any ascended master that you have. It doesn't matter, because these are all, individuals that said much of the same thing. But to remove ourselves from our opinions about how it should be to what could be if we were willing to change our perceptions, to change our minds, to realize that we have one great power, the power to choose, and we choose in favor of love. And when we choose in favor of love of ourselves and of other people, our world is going to work better. We're going to find more harmony. We will find what we're looking for, whether it be conflict, upset, and negativity, or if it's peace, joy, and harmony. In large part, we get what we're looking for. And this morning, one of the things that I would invite you to do, urge you to do, is if you haven't looked at this set of books called A Course in Miracles, I suggest that you do it. I know it's a very large tome, and that people say that the language is very difficult to access because it was written in Shakespearean pentameter. And this course, by the way, came, as I said, through the collaboration of two people, and ultimately one lady, Dr. Schuckman, received the information in a channeled way and wrote this down over a period of years. And it was the voice of Jesus Christ. Now, whether you believe that or not makes no difference. The information works. I would like to make the metaphysical unmuddled. So I don't want to get into the ideas, well, was this channeled, was it not, is this? My question to all these things is, does it work? I'm not attached to somebody having to do it in my way or my time through my reading or something like that. I ask, does it work? And Course in Miracles has worked for many people as a shift. Right now we feel so powerless in so many ways with things that are going on in our world. But the first step is to take back that power. And we take it back by realizing really who we are. Pure spirit inhabiting a form that will one day disappear. And the only thing that we can really take with us is the love we give. If I could give any message that would sum up what I believe my ministry has been about, it's about love. It's about showing love. It's about honoring the two great commandments that Jesus said comprised all the rest. That you love your neighbor as yourself and love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, and strength. On those two commandments, everything else rests. I didn't say that. Jesus said it. And if Jesus actually appeared in channeled form to this lady, Dr. Schuckman, well and good. Why do we not get, why is it strange for us to get information from God today, but it wasn't strange to get it 2,000, 3,000 years ago? I believe God is active in the affairs of people all the time, every day, to the extent we allow it. And I'll also say, if you look at the Course in Miracles, if you like it, there's another book that's called A Course of Love that complements it greatly. I'm saying in this time when we have, seems like more time to maybe study or look around, take a look at these books. I know they're thick. I know that, as I said, I know the Sometimes the language can be cumbersome, but if you read it with an idea of letting Spirit talk to you, guide you, if you're open, if you remove your own opinions, your own conditioned self, and let the information come through and speak to you, see what happens. One of the worst things that we can do is be afraid of something new because we don't know where it's going to take us. We want to go where we've not gone before. We want to heal what hasn't been healed yet. We want to live in a way that honors our existence, that is full of exciting new learning, a journey that is purposeful to all of us. That's what we want. We have, as I said, we have so much more in common than what separates us. So if you're willing to understand this awareness, if you're willing to understand that you're pure spirit and pure presence of God, then these things that happen in the relative world, while they are something to take note of because we're informed, you realize that that is not the truth. I'm going to draw a distinction between a fact and the truth. A fact, for example, is we're going through a pandemic right now. The truth would be, the truth is, if the pandemic was the truth, is what I'm trying to say, then it would be something that would last forever. That would be something that's real and eternal. And we know that this is not going to last forever. So you have a fact of the pandemic right now, but the truth that says that this will pass and that, yes, we'll probably have other challenges because that's who we are right now on this planet. Many ways we're here to learn. But more than anything, and I believe this is the sum and substance of what I want to say to you today, more than anything, we're here to love each other. I've said, and I've said it for a long time, the sole purpose of life is to love and be loved. And that means we live in forgiveness. We live in grace. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be perfect at this. That's what life is about. Learning is about. Get up, fall down, get up, fall down, take a break, detour here, a detour there. But that's also part of the joy of life, is those unexpected detours. But what I'm saying is when you holistically embrace this journey and realize that this ego you have is going to judge and evaluate, and you're patient with it, but you don't listen to it, and you see through the eyes of love and know that your brother and your sister are doing much the same thing you are, and that we need to hold hands along this journey. We don't need division anymore. We need to reach out in a way that transcends our own limitations of opinions or the way we want to hold on to the love and, staking a claim, to let that go and embrace the love that we are and that others are and the truth of being. The other thing I want you to know is that you do this with kindness. If we're not being kind to one another, we're missing the point. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13. If you have faith that can move mountains, if you can talk in unknown tongues, if you can do anything in the world, but you don't have love, you've missed it. You missed the whole point. Now, does that mean that God is angry at you? God is incapable of anger. If God was capable of anger, there'd be a dualistic universe, a dualistic God, and we don't have that. We have one holistic presence that awaits our recognition of it inside ourselves and inside another person. So you'll understand that I'm a little sort of worked up this morning because I believe so much of what I'm saying. I've seen it work. I've seen when I pulled back my own human ideas about what should occur and I accept somebody where they are and I apply love liberally, all of a sudden I feel lighter. Things work better. Love is really the sum and substance of it all. Now, I ask you this morning, if you're holding on to something that hurts, even whether it be something about the news, something about that's happened in your life, something that has caused you pain. See how much of that pain has to do with your own personal opinion about how things should be, instead of letting God have its way inside you to straighten out those places that need straightening out. And you know what? The only thing that God is going to do is show you more love. And then you go out and you take that with you. And you realize that by and large, most people are doing the best they can. Oh, I know we could point to examples, but by and large, most people are trying to make their way through just like you. And most people have their 3 o'clock in the morning moments where they question and they feel insecure and they hurt. I'm coming up on a year since my father died. Last September was when he began to sort of slip. It's been a year, I can't believe it. You know what I'm finding? When I first started cleaning out his things, it was very, very sad. But as I've gone through this more and more, I've learned in so many ways how we're alike. And I hear him. I can hear his voice. And so it's become more like a partnership. You see, I let my human ideas and identity of him go, and I'm experiencing my Father not as flesh and blood in front of me, but as the Spirit he is. You can do that with anybody right now, alive or gone, because all relationships take place right here. And the most important relationship you're going to ever have is the one you have with yourself, because from that's the fountainhead of what you're going to get. It all truly begins with you. It all rests with you. That's the ecstasy, and some people would say the agony. To think that you are the author of your world, but you're authoring it with love, as much love as you can embody and give. Because friends, that's the only thing that's going to last. I remember hearing a long time ago that you never see a U-Haul truck connected to a hearse. You can't take it with you. So what can you take with you? The love that you gave, the love that you are, the love that you were present before you ever took form in this world, the love you are now, and the love you will be eternally. It must rest on that. Everything else is just filler. God bless each and every one of you. And my prayer is that you realize your oneness inside and your oneness with all. And that you shift your awareness to comprise, if you need to comprise this oneness, and understand that the divisions are set up by us, never by spirit. The things we've attributed to God, to me, are almost criminal. We've called him the judge, the executioner, the one who delivers wrath, pain. How I still wonder at how we could talk about love in the same breath as talking about a God who is so angry at us, and who supposedly knew what we were going to be before we were here. We're no surprise to God. So this dualism has to go, and the way it goes is love. I think that's the best way that I can sum this up this morning. I'm very passionate about what I feel, and I truly live what I feel, but sometimes I do it better than others. And there are plenty of mirrors out there in this world that will reflect to me back when I'm not doing such a great job. So the books I mentioned this morning, A Course in Miracles, I'm sure you've heard of it, and A Course of Love. Now, studying those books will keep you busy a long time because they're thick, but they're thick with great information. So I'm sure you've heard of them, but if you haven't, and you want to get a copy or find out, very easy on the internet to look it up. It's right there. You type in A Course in Miracles text, and it's there. And sometimes there is a audio that you press the button and the lesson is given for that day. So it's not hard to study online. Friends, I'm just saying, the more we love, the better we're going to be. God bless you. And now I want to say a special word about somebody close to us. Very dear person to me, Bertie Shocker, who acts as a chaplain, has been diagnosed with a health challenge we call COVID. Right now, she's doing well and rocking through this. Yesterday, the Pathlighters meditation group set up a Power of 8 intention that I sent out emails to each of you about, if you could be there at 2:30 to try and be there. We had this healing for not only Bertie, but those that are challenged with this thing we call COVID, or whatever it may be, to realize the pure form, sum and substance of spirit that they are. We upheld these folks that are going through this, but it gets real personal when it's somebody we know and love. And our Bertie Shocker is somebody we know and love. I ask you to send your prayers to her, that you see her as whole, healthy, complete, and healed of this. We know that this came to pass. We know this is relative. And I know how much love is in the congregation that I pastor, and I know that you are joining me in sending love to Bertie and for quick healing and for health and wholeness. So please remember that this week. Also realize that there are opportunities for ministry that we have at Unity of Bernie, starting a Sunday night book study, and then our Thursday night Pathlighters meditation group that comprises a number of states, has even reached into Canada, come together online to intentionally uphold a personal and collective world that works for all. And then we have our Sunday morning service, and then there are all types of unity groups that meet online, where we're in a collaboration of remembering who we are and the new way we have of relating to each other as we go through this. You know, church, they say, has left the building during this time. And we know that it will come back, but it will come back in a different way. And we're pioneers by the way we look at life, by the way we're accepting what's going on, and by what we're affirming to be. We're making this new world. So please give your prayers to those, and especially our Bertie, who's going through this, and realize that you're really the architects of what's to be by what you think. So we think lovingly, we think holistically, and we think health. The other thing that I would like you to know is, just like any other church, Unity of Bernie relies on your free will donations and tithes. All churches I know have been hit with financial struggle during this time, but we, just like anybody else, have to pay our bills. There is a PayPal button that is at unityofbernie.org webpage. If you prefer to send your gifts through the mail, you can do that by put your gift in the mail, right? Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. That's P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. I want to close with this. I want you to know that I love each and every one of you, and I miss our physical presence. But you know, I have been sustained in the thought and seeing it even more so during this time, that we are one in spirit. We're being called on right now to show in action what we have affirmed, our oneness. Well, we get a chance to do that. There's no distance in spirit. There's no distance in love. We really won, and I've seen that with each one of you, and I feel the presence, and I feel the connection with you. I love it, and I look forward to seeing you online. I look forward to seeing you on Community Hour after this message, or excuse me, at 1 o'clock after we're finished here. I love each one of you, and I miss you, and I look forward to recongregating. But right now, we have the ability and the responsibility to build what is to come, and we do it a thought at a time, and we do it with the best thoughts, the most loving thoughts we can. Now, if you have a tangible gift to give, it's usually at this time I ask you to place it in your hand. If you don't have something to give, you can realize that you have something that you're thankful for. You know, either the money that you have that you're going to give, or the faith you're going to release, or resentment you're going to release. Anything that you know that you want to let go of and see multiplied. Forgiveness, love, yes, money, whatever it may be. But here's what we do. We take the gift in our hand, tangibly or intangibly, and say, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessings and my love. And so it is. I wish for each one of you a love-filled, joy-filled week. Look forward to seeing you at Community Hour. And remember, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. Blessings to each one of you. Have a beautiful week.